Hey, what's going on? Luke here, and we're here to do my tips and predictions for round 7 of the 2023 NRL season. Now, what a season it's been. Some fantastic games, some also low-quality games, but also some very, very surprising results. I mean, take a look at the ladder, and you'd probably be pretty shocked at where some of the teams are coming. I mean, like at the start of the season, would you have said the Broncos would be number 1, Penrith number 2? Probably not. Would you be talking about a team like Parramatta being well and truly down the bottom of the 8? Same goes for Cronulla Sharks. Some of those sort of teams. It's just been a very, very strange season, but a very, very good season nonetheless. And hopefully round 7 isn't any different to the rest of them. Hopefully my Bulldogs can bounce back after a big, big loss. But we're going to start off with the very first game, which sees the Rabbitohs, who smashed my Bulldogs, taking on the Dolphins, who actually got a pretty good win. Dolphins in fine form, playing at Suncorp, a big game for them. I'm really confused when they play at Suncorp and when they play in Redcliffe. I don't really know. Is Suncorp their main stadium, or is Redcliffe? Or is it literally 50-50? I really can't figure it out. But going into this game, 4th up against 10th, you got Wayne Bennett coaching up against his old team. That's probably a storyline that's probably not going to get talked about that much. You've also got the GOAT, Marky Nichols, coming up against his old club. Pretty sure he's playing. In terms of actual quality of game, I think this is going to be a very, very good one. Although Rabbitohs are in 10th spot, I feel like they've definitely shown at times that they can be a upper echelon team, a top 4 side, especially when Latrell Mitchell plays as good as he did last week. The Hammer's been killing it this year, though. He's been absolutely fantastic. Same can be said about a lot of the Dolphins guys. It being a home game, played at Suncorp, I think that definitely is going to, just give the Dolphins a big advantage. But at the same time, the Rabbitohs, I think we might be seeing the Rabbitohs sort of starting to fly a little bit. So for this one, I'm actually going to be tipping the Rabbitohs. I don't really have a great deal of confidence in that one. I'm going off Latrell Mitchell played really good last week. Cody Walker. I think if the Rabbitohs get a little bit of momentum, I think they'll just go on with it. And the Dolphins have been going good. Obviously, they're in 4th spot. They've been going fantastic, but just something's going to give at some point. I did a video the other day. I talked about the Cowboys this year, what the Dolphins that's the Dolphins are the Cowboys of last year is what I meant to say. Where I keep looking at them and going, all right, this is the week that they drop off, and then they just don't seem to drop off. But I think this is going to be, I think Rabbitohs is going to get the job done. I think it'll be a close one. I think it'll be a tight one. I think it'll be a 1-12. I think it'll sort of be, running back and forth for quite a while, and then Rabbitohs will just edge it. Maybe Latrell Mitchell magic, maybe. But 1-12 Rabbitohs, I'm going with that one. On to the second game, Friday night footy. We have the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks up against the Sydney Roosters. Roosters looking like they're sort of getting back to their best. Obviously, the Sharks as well, coming off a bye. Generally, the team that comes off the bye seems to win. So that could be something to look at when you're doing your tips this week. Obviously, Nico Hines was back for a couple of weeks. Just looking at the lineups, there's lots of ins for this Sharks side. Obviously, Dale Finucane and Toby Rudolph are both out, which is big loss. This way Graham comes in. Oregon Kaufusi, Connor Tracy. Apart from that, it's a fair few guys who I don't really know a lot of. For the Roosters, though, we're seeing Matt Lodge is in, Paul Momorowski's in. In reserve grade, though, you got Angus Crichton, Nathan Brown. I think Dylan Napper's playing as well. Their reserve grade 4-pack is better than some bloody 4-packs just actually starting in the NRL. So that's pretty crazy. So the Roosters aren't far from having, Angus Crichton back. I think he's going to be a huge in for them. But just in terms of this game, I think... Oh, this is a tough one. This is a very, very tough one. Tedesco back for them as well, which should be mentioned. Who do you go for? Who do you go? I'm making this up on the spot, really. I'm going to go with the Roosters. I think the Roosters are going to get the job done. I think they just have too many big game players, and I think the Sharks are pushing, but I think the Roosters will finally get going. No Radley for them as well, which I'm pretty sure. Oh, no, he is there. Radley is there. I lie. I thought he was suspended or something. But I think the Roosters win this one 1-12. I think it's going to be a tight one. On to the second game of Friday. It's the Battle of Brookvale. It's not quite the same, is it? Not really. Once all the players are gone. Still talking about the big feud, but, literally none of the players are there. But we have Manly up against the Storm. I think Storm win this one. Manly looking pretty terrible, if I'm being honest. So they do look really good when they play at Brookvale. So, you know what? I changed my mind. Manly to win this one. What's interesting is Karen Munster moves to fullback with Nick Meaney being out, and Jonah Pezzett comes into the halves. I actually think that probably is a good move long term, if I'm being honest with you. Just in terms of this season. Get through this season. Pappenhausen isn't going to be playing. Meaney's solid, but I think Munster at the back, and you got Jonah Pezzett, who I think is the future of the Storm, long term. Get him in there. Get him experience. I don't think this is a case of a guy like Cooper Johns, who, they've played him a couple of times and, he's looked all right, but as we've seen, he's sort of gone to other clubs as well now, and he's just okay, still like a backup guy. I think this Jonah Pezzett, I think he's going to be outstanding. We've seen enough of him in first grade already in a few games that he's going to be great. In terms of Manly, though, Tom Trbojevic is there. Aaron Woods comes in, funnily enough. Schuster's in as well, but I mean, you never know. Schuster, like, he's named. Where's he actually named? He's named as a reserve, 22. So, like, he's there, but he's not there. Like, Schuster might be one of the biggest what ifs going forward of, like, when he plays, he can be good, but, like, he just never plays. Cooper John's there. I was talking about him, actually, which is funnily enough. Up against his old team. Probably has a few tricks up his sleeve up against them. I don't know with this one because I've got the home with Manly, which makes me want to go Manly, but Tommy hasn't really been doing a hell of a lot the last couple of weeks. I think he might be injured. Storm have been looking pretty darn good. So your smart money says the Storm. If you want to take a risk though, I think Manly I think they're going to be a good chance of winning this one, but I'm going to go the Storm 1-12. Again, I'm going another close one. That's how it's been so far. A lot of good games to start off this round. So Storm 1-12. I think Munster will run a market fullback. I think he'll play pretty good. I mean, I feel like with Munster, he's one of those guys, you can float him between fullback and 5'8", and he probably won't miss a beat. I mean, you could probably play him anywhere. Play him at lock, and he'd probably become one of the best locks in the game. It's kind of how Cameron Munster is. Just one of those guys. He's just a freaky player, man. He's good. But yeah, Storm 1-12. Now on to Super Saturday. It's the North Queensland Cowboys travelling to New Zealand, taking on the New Zealand Warriors. Warriors in 5th spot. Dropped off a little bit, but not too much. Sean Johnson still playing outstanding. Sort of check out their side just fully. Chance is still there. It's funny, like, I look at their backline and I think it looks dreadful, but they're still doing all right. Now, Dylan Walker comes into the 5'8 spot, and I think they actually do lose a little bit of Dylan Walker. Like, I really rate Dylan Walker coming off the bench. Obviously, he's one of those guys that you can chuck him into the starting lineup, but he's going to do a decent job. He's played enough 5'8 over the years. I just don't think he's a good 5'8, though. He's like a good player. I just don't think he's a great 5'8. In terms of other options, though, I mean, it might just come down to the fact that I don't know if they've got many other options. Like DWZ is on the bench, but they got Ronald Volkman as well, who came across from the Roosters, pretty sure, with big raps. He could easily come in, so I wouldn't be surprised if they make a few late changes. You even got guys like Jazz Tavanga on the bench there. I'm sure they've played other guys as well. Like, I'm confused where Luke Metcalf is. Maybe he's injured. But yeah, losing Tamari Martin is going to be a big loss. He's been fantastic for them. But in terms of this Cowboys side, Jeremiah Nanai is in, and so is Tuolangi as well. So they're both two huge ins. Two guys who played for Australia last year, played for Queensland, fantastic players. And they've been killing it last year, not so much this year. And that I'm talking about the Cowboys in general. But these two players, I think, coming back in should be a big help for them. But them going across to New Zealand, I'm actually going to tip the Warriors here. I can't believe I'm actually saying this. Generally, I'm one of those guys who, even though the Warriors are in 5th spot, kind of similar to the Dolphins, I'm like, they're in 5th, but they're still not that good. I don't know at what point do they actually become good for me. I don't know. Maybe after like 10 rounds or something. But I just think the home crowd advantage, I think it's going to get them home. I am a little bit skeptical with Dylan Walker there, but hey, I wouldn't be surprised if even like Chance or someone moves in 5'8" or whatever, but I don't know. I still think Warriors get the job done. Another tight one, 1-12. Sorry, my tips are very boring this week. Moving on to the next game of Super Saturday. It is the Newcastle Knights taking on the Penrith Panthers. Panthers win this one, 13+. That's all I'm going to say. I think the Knights have been playing okay. They've been playing a lot better than what they have been at the start of the season. Just checking, no Ponga still. Yes, no Ponga. Jaden Brayley out, though, is going to be a huge one. Like, who comes in? Phoenix Crosland. Supercoach guys, he might be okay to get. You got Kurt Mann there as well. They just swap and change their lineup so much, the Knights. And a lot of it's not even due to injury. It's just like one week, Jack Johns is there. The next week, Matt Croker is playing lock. The next week will be bloody, Hetherington. Then it'll be Brody Jones. Then it'll be another guy. It'll be Kurt Mann. I don't really know what their team selections are, and apparently they don't either. But Penrith 13+. I don't really need to talk about this too much. I mean, it's not even really a reflection of the Knights. It's just Penrith are playing really good at the moment. So that's all that really needs to be said about that one. Moving on to Battle of Queensland. I was going to say Battle of Brisbane, but it doesn't really work that way, does it? We've got the Gold Coast Titans up against the Brisbane Broncos. This one, I think, could be a smoky for match of the round. I think the Titans will be up for this one. Obviously, the Broncos will be up for this one. They're in 1st spot. They're absolutely killing it this year. Reece Walsh has been fantastic for them. David Fafita's been really good for the Titans, though, and the Titans in general, despite not having a great side. I think they will be up for this one. I think they'll get beat. Like, I just want to point that out. I think the Broncos will win this one. Probably even like 13+. But I think the Titans will be up for this one, and they'll be pushing the Broncos at times. I just think like a little bit of classiness from your Adam Reynolds and your Reece Walshes we'll get the Broncos home, and I think once they sort of get a bit of a lead, I think they'll go on with it. That's my logic in picking 13 plus, despite saying it being close. Now we're moving on to Sunday afternoon football, and I just want to mention before we get into the Sunday games that it is the West Tigers with the bye, and I am picking the bye for that one as well. So just want to mention that one. We have the Raiders up against the St. George Illawarra Dragons. Now, back in the day, like a little while ago, this used to be like a bit of a bogey game for the Dragons when the Dragons are really good. Now, obviously, the Raiders definitely outmatched the Dragons. Raiders looked really good last week, obviously. Got the job done. Jack Whiten comes back into the side. Obviously got a lot of pressure in him at the moment in terms of him re-signing and that sort of stuff. Dragons really pushed the Titans though, but end of the day it was only the Titans. But it was an away game for them, which I think for the Dragons, I think that's a good thing. I think they did play quite well. I'm actually surprised they kind of lost, if I'm being honest with you. I'll say they fumbled it at the end there. Ben Hunt, again, dropping the ball. Ben Hunt, I'm sorry, man. Like, the jokes really write themselves. I'm not going to say any, but like they write themselves. I'm sorry. But in terms of picking a winner for this one, I'm just like having a look real quick. I am going to go with the Raiders. I think they got too much depth. Nick Kotrick back, Jared Croker there. I just keep Jared Croker on the side. No matter what this season, you got to keep him there. I think the Raiders going to win this one. I think it'll be 13 plus. Dragons always a team that just stays in the contest, but I just think being in Canberra, I'm not sure what the weather's going to be like, but I just think the Raiders, I think they'll be able to get the job done. Like, I don't really have like heaps of confidence in that, but I'm going to go 1-12. I think Dragons are just one of those sides that, like, I find it very hard to tip 13 plus against the Dragons, just no matter how shit their team is. I don't know. They're one of those sides that defend well enough, or just, I don't know, grit it out enough, but they don't necessarily win, but they're sort of there. So, yeah, Raiders 1-12. Now, moving on to the last game of the round, another smoky for best game. Last year, we saw this repeat sort of fixture or whatever it's called. We saw the Bulldogs absolutely smoke Parramatta at CommBank. I don't think that's going to be the case this week. I think it's going to be a lot better. Obviously, Sparrow in the works. They named Villiamo kick out. He tears his pec and he's out for like 10, 12 weeks, something like that. Maybe even the season, who knows. But yeah, that's a big disappointment considering the ins for the Bulldogs kick out coming back in. Obviously, for Talon Mariner as well. I was looking forward to this side. Like, in terms of the actual full ins, I'll just read them out because obviously kick out is going to be out now. But Braden Burns comes in, which isn't a good one. But Ockenball was back. Raymond Fatala Mariner, Tavita Pengai Jr., and it was supposed to be Villiamo Kickout. I'm assuming that Harrison Edwards will come into the side. Maybe Fatala Mariner ends up on the edge. I hope not, but I'm assuming Edwards might just come straight back in. But yeah, in terms of like winning this one, I like the Eels side, but the Eels just aren't playing well. I think the Bulldogs going to get the job done here. I'm hoping if Kickout was playing, I'll hand on heart be like, yes, the Bulldogs will win this one. But Kickout is a very important player. And with Addo-Carr being out, and then now Kickout being out, Alamonte didn't look too flash hot last week. He got 50 put on him. Obviously, reshuffling and, plenty of injuries throughout the game. But I think Braden Burns is pretty solid defensively. So what we lose in attack, defensively, Braden Burns is pretty good. We know the Fox, he's good, but his defense is a little bit hit and miss sometimes. So hopefully Alamonte still has that little combination, get the little flick passes going. I think Braden Burns he'll just be quite solid, I think. We're not going to have that lethal left edge, but hopefully it like forces Matt Burton into something other than kicks for Addo-Carr or Preston. Hopefully it allows him to play a little bit more. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but it's going to be good. First time we get to see Pengai Jr. this year. Rip in, man. Just rip in, please. Please, we need you to rip in. But yeah, Bulldogs 1-12 for this one. I don't think it's going to be a repeat of last year where we absolutely destroy them, but I think it's going to be a good game regardless. And like if Eels come out and win, I can easily see them winning like 13 plus as well. Just one of those sides. Once Moses gets going, Dylan Brown's been killing it. Gutherson, once they all get going, they're good. And I don't know, Tigers also did the same thing as what they did to Parramatta to the Bulldogs the week before. So maybe Tigers just aren't as bad as what we think they are, or maybe the Bulldogs and Eels both suck. I don't know. But guys, those are my tips for this round. Hopefully you did enjoy the video as well because I'm ending it here. But let me know your tips in the comment section below. Make sure you go ahead and leave a comment. It is super important to leave comments. It's also very important to leave likes on the video as well. I'm really discovering that likes are super important in terms of growing the channel. So the more likes, the better. I appreciate all of you who are leaving the likes, especially here and on the streams and all that sort of stuff as well. Everybody subscribing. We're super close to 14,000 as well. We're so close. I think we're like less than 50. So I'm absolutely loving that. Also, I want to say, if you want to follow me on social media, it's on the screen right now. It's Mr. Luke on YT for absolutely everything. I finally got it. I'm not saying for the most part, I'm saying for everything. No Facebook, no worries. Give me a follow on Instagram. Been posting on that a little bit. Also, I want to give a special shout out to all of the members. You're seeing them on the screen right now. Shout out to everybody who's joined recently. Shout out to everybody who's gifted memberships and, you know, been around for a long time. It doesn't go unnoticed. It's very, very appreciated. It helps out the channel like massively. Like, I don't have sponsors. I don't have anything like this on the channel at the moment. So all the memberships, all the super chats, you saw them on there as well. It all helps out massively. So shout out to everybody. If you'd like to become a member, there should be a little join button when you're watching this video, and also super chats are mainly for streams. So come on to the streams. We've been streaming basically every night. So come check out some of the streams. We play Rugby League Live 4, maybe even a little bit of Rugby League Legends, maybe even just browsing internet or something. I don't know. Guys, I'm going to wrap things up here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See yous.